Okay. So you can bring your presentation up and start in about 5 minutes. You can close this door in case there's any noise. We don't expect much noise, but at this time of the year, we don't have a lot of people coming through the libraries. Yeah, you can start your presentation. Right now, your screen is shared, so you can just start your presentation. I'm seeing yep, it's shared. It's good. And that's one of the reasons I bring it up on this computer. So we know if there's a problem, we can diagnose the situation. My suggestion would be for you to share screen one, because once you try to show your video, it'll continue to show this screen on, I think. Work off of, stop sharing, click stop share, share again, and pick your screen at the top on the left. That way your screen is shared. So whatever you put on the screen is shared. When you share a particular application, if you need to be in YouTube or somewhere else, then they will continue to see. I hope that makes sense. So whatever you show on the screen will show up in Zoom right now with this pattern, which I think is what we like to have, right? At least I think. So I think I see, of course. Yeah, you can always stop sharing and share again if you wanted to. Hey, how are you again? Happy New Year to you. Are you going to be in front or are you going to be participating? You're watching. Okay.
Yeah. How did you make it?
She is the best.
Thank you.
I know. Her name is Nassim. Yeah. It's a wildflower in person.
So beautiful. Congrats, Nessa.
Usually I can see participants in the corner. They are coming on. And you can start anytime you like. It's 2 o'clock. Yeah, because I can see everybody on my screen and your share.
Hey,
I'll be happy to share questions if anybody has.
oh yeah, I can watch it.
Hey, Ramin, can you hear us on Zoom?
We can hear you. Can you hear, can you hear?
I can
Pete?
hear you, but is that Pete? I don't know.
That is
He's
Pete.
so tiny. I can't tell. I can't hear him.
Oh, you can hear Pete.
No, but I can hear you. I don't know what mic's picking you up.
There's a mic.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to hear the speaker.
I'm gonna switch this to you.
Yep, can you hear me now?
That's much better. Thank you.
Right. That's great. Hey. Well, hello everyone. So just want to say hi. Welcome to Beyond Bias. This is an interesting format for me because I can see a few people here in person, but if you're here on screen, I cannot see you whatsoever. So one of the things I'd like our in-person folks to do, if you see someone flag a question or someone has something, raise it up with me. That'd be great. So it's great to see everyone. I'm pretending I'm seeing you. For the people who are here in person, I can see you. So welcome to Beyond Bias. We're having a session from 2 to 2:50. We're going to make sure we conclude by 2:50 to get you out of here on time. And so the first thing I want to do is I just want to touch base on who we are. So I understand a lot of this training week is being done and delivered, I think a lot by SUNY Oswego personnel. We are from InterFaith Works, specifically the Center for Dialogue and Action. Who are we? So we sound like we're a religious organization, but we're not. We're a human services organization based in Syracuse. We affirm the dignity of everyone in every faith tradition. We were formed in 1976. We have 3 major programs. Our biggest program in our agency is the Center for New Americans. We do refugee resettlement. We have a program called the Center for Healthy Aging. We address elder isolation and loneliness. And then we have the Center for Dialogue and Action. And we have been around since 1976. We're considered to be one of the longest continually running programs addressing race and racial equity in the country. And we use deliberate dialogue process to help communities, organizations address complex issues. Really quickly, our department is small. We're with 20% of our staff, but we have a pretty big impact. About 3,600 people went through our dialogue programs last year. We do a lot of work with schools and school districts. We do work with government agencies, county agencies. We do work with colleges and universities like SUNY Oswego. We're right in the middle of a 5-year project with SUNY Oswego called Being Bold. We do work with organizations. We also have a major food justice program. We distributed almost 45,000 bags of food last year, addressing the issue of food justice. Hunger is increasing in this country, especially so in Syracuse. And we have another program, chaplaincy. We have over 12,000 chaplain visits a year. We have contract chaplains in jails, hospitals, nursing homes. So just a little bit, who is InterFaith Works? Who is the Center for Dialogue and Action? We are partnering on our 5-year project with the Transiflow Institute, which is a very exciting and important project. And so our training today really is going to take on 3 major components: aspiration, awareness, and moving beyond bias. At least that's something we will aspire to be trying to do. So I am typically not a slide reader, but I think in this case, I am going to read these slides just to have some focus on them. So the framework for this training is that all of us have complicated identities, which can impact how we work with others in ways we may not realize. It's really less of a training and more of a reflection. For those of you who know about our dialogue program and about our dialogue work, it's going to be reflective. We know you have experiences. We want you to bring those experiences to the fore as we go through this training. We want to reflect on our identities and begin to uncover the ways that biases can creep into our daily lives. You're going to have a chance to think about bias, about impact, and maybe some ways to address them beyond bias. So this is when we actively go beyond recognizing bias to taking steps to counteract it. And we want to think too about a mindset for this training. We ask that you be open-minded, be curious. Addressing bias is something that, it doesn't come easy. We all have them. And so we just want you to be open-minded, be curious. You're going to get more in this training the more open-minded you are. Be brave. This is going to be a participatory experience. So at various points, we're going to be partnering you up, whether you're in person or whether you're online. So be brave in sharing and seek first to understand. This is a really important mindset. Rather than judging what we perceive, Dr. Covey asks us to first try to put ourselves into someone else's shoes. We want you to try to focus on this, and we'll be doing more of this during the training. Yeah. So we're going to move into the first part, aspiration. All right. So what we're going to be doing is, this is a little bit of a representation. We're actually going to be doing this activity in just a little bit, but we're all complicated people. We all have things that make us unique, identities that make us unique. If you can see your screen, you can start to see things like where we live, where we're a citizen of, what our race is, what our age might be, education, etc. And those different identities bear different rates of relevance to us. Some identities are visible and obvious, some are not. How we think about ourselves and how we think about others can sometimes bring about different assumptions. There's lots of different ways to look at identity. This is one of those ways. It's called the social identity wheel. There's lots of variations of this type. We're going to be doing this one in a few minutes. And it's a reflective tool to help us think a little bit more deeply about who we are. But I think as we move into aspiration, I want to play a video. It's called 3 Beautiful Human Minutes. It's 3 minutes long. It's a video that comes from Denmark. And I think you'll find, I hope you'll find that it just lays out maybe like an idea of what we're looking for. So give me a second, I'm going to play this, and then we'll just open it up for maybe a few comments afterwards. So as you look at the video, if you have questions or if you have reflections, we can talk about that out. And naturally,
listen, there's a good chance somebody's trying to hack your website right now. You gotta.
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. The high earners, and those just getting by. Those we trust, and those we try to avoid. There's the new Danes, and those who've always been here. The people from the countryside, and those who've never seen a cow. The religious, and the self-confident. There are those we share something with, and those we don't share anything with.
Velkommen. Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål i dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber, I vil svare ærligt på dem. Hvem herinde i rummet var klassens klovn? Hvem bonusforældre.
And then suddenly, there's us. We who believe in life after death. We who've seen UFOs. And all of us who love to dance. We who've been bullied. And we who've bullied others. And then there's us, the lucky ones who've had sex this past week. We who are broken-hearted. We who are madly in love. We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual. And we who acknowledge the courage of others. We who have found the meaning of life. And we who have saved lives. And then there's all of us who just love Denmark. So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think. TV2 Denmark. All that we share.
So just, I want to take a pause and just see, what were some thoughts that you had as you looked at that video, if anyone wants to share? What jumps out at you? Yeah, Lillian.
I think for me, it was, the understanding that people gain something. Because I think that like in the moment, I think that you're the only one, right? Like you're the only one that's so exposed, you're the only one that's going to this experience, but when like other people really, it allows you to like understand other experiences. And so it was like there were like aha moments. And then when that person had to go sit by themselves, I think there was another aha moment for others, not just that person.
Yeah, thank you. So I see someone wrote in the chat, I participated in one of these at another organization. It was great. Wow, it'd be interesting to actually go to be in one of those. That would be fascinating. Thank you for sharing. Maybe one more comment? Something that jumped out at you? Something that makes you think? Yeah. Hey, how are you doing?
I was moving my house rate a lot of them.
Yeah.
I guess.
What do you think they were trying to do with that video? I mean, what do you think they were, where do you think they were trying to get to as you looked at them do that and where they took it? And this isn't just for the people who happen to be here with me in person, but for those folks who are also remote, you can please jump in if you'd like. Break down barriers. Thank you. So aspiration, that's where that's what we're trying to think and get to. And I see there's another, recognize how much we have in common. Yeah. Even beyond, right? See how much we have in common beyond what might be on the outside, right? And trying to go deeper. There are some of these stories that we may not be aware of for all of us. So thank you for those comments. That's great. So we're going to try to move into a little bit of awareness. Let's see. Oop, bear with me. All right. So, this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to need just a second of time because I thought I was going to be here in person, and I'm going to have to do something a little bit on the fly. I realize, bear with me. I'm going to have to share my screen a little differently. So let's see. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to have to minimize this a little bit. Hopefully everyone can see this. I'm doing it this way because I think it may be a little clearer than what's in the PowerPoint. Can everyone see the screen I'm sharing? So it's identity wheel? Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to break people up into groups, and I want you to fill this out silently. And then in your breakout group, talk with your partners about 3 things. What are identities you think about the most? What are identities you think about the least? And actually, we're going to keep it at 2 questions, I think, given this time. What are identities you think about the most? What are identities you think about the least? And what I'm going to do, if you'll bear with me, is I'm going to create some breakout groups for all of us. We're going to break people into pairs. How many people are online, if I may ask?
We have,
Oh, no worries. Thank you.
we have 10 people that are listening.
10 online. We're going to create 5 breakout groups.
Probably going to, or me, if you don't have 9.
9. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, you, we talk in your mind and see the truth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Will do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask to I'm realizing now as I'm thinking this through, if I put people in the breakout groups, Raheem, will they be able to see the screen share, or will they lose the screen share?
I think they'll lose it.
Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm not going to put people into breakout groups yet. I'm going to keep sharing my screen. And what we will do is let's take a few minutes and we'll fill this out silently. And then I'll put you into breakout groups for you to talk about the 2 questions. What do you think about the most? What do you think about the least? So we'll give ourselves about 4 minutes. It's 2:19 now. So if you can look at those identities and begin to fill them in, however best you can see it. Yep, thank you very much, Michael. We're going to fill out the core.
A little bit bigger. The scale and the little right side. I wonder if
Okay. Like that.
Probably they did a good thing.
Oh, thank you. As Raheem is helping us, I'm going to give you just a couple of examples. So if I were completing this, both the secondary and the core, If I were filling in the race category, the way I would answer is I'd be white. My class and economic background, I would say is solidly middle. You know, we have something called first language. My first language is English. So we're asking you to fill that in. Citizenship and immigration status, I'm a citizen of the United States. So fill that in as best you can. There's a blank category. If you think anything's missing, you can add that in. And the one thing I would say is you complete this and as you go to talk with your partner, we don't want anyone to share any identities with their partner or in the group that you're not comfortable sharing. Okay, so if there's something that you don't want to have to talk about, you don't have to. Okay, you can keep it to yourself. We'll take a few minutes. We'll fill that out. If you have questions, it's great if you put them in the chat so we can help. You have a question? A pen? Sure. Welcome.
There is a question from Michael Burley in chat,
Yeah.
or second. And he also wants a link to the,
Yeah.
whatever the reading.
Both core and secondary. Are we picking dimensions we think about regarding ourselves? Nope. This is focused on you. So yes, about yourselves. Those are good questions. Thank you. Thanks for your help with all this. You're doing both, Sheila, core and secondary. Awesome. The worksheet that Lillian's referring to is the one that's shown on screen. If that helps. So hopefully you have a piece of paper, just something we can take notes on about how you identify yourself. I'll attempt to post a link to the slides, but it'll take me a second. Lillian, should I stop my share to see if I can find this online? Or should I go look online live? Right.
Knowing the details on the, what you are.
Yeah. It's from the United Way for Southeastern Michigan, if that helps. Thank you, Lillian. So hopefully people can download what Lillian shared, and she put it right there. Thank you. How's everyone doing? Do we need a little bit more time? Or are we good? Happy to take another minute or two if you would like. You need another minute? Sure. Yeah, we'll take another minute or two. How's everyone doing? Just a quick check in on time. Everyone's looking pretty good. How are we doing online? If anyone needs a little bit more time, you could put it in the chat, even just to me, if you need just a few more seconds. Okay. Stopping my share. If you need me to go back, just please say something verbally or in the chat, because I can't see anyone. So I'm gonna go to, hopefully. I don't know. Okay. There we go. Right. All right. So hopefully everyone has in their chat the reflection questions. You're fine. Thank you, Michael. So I put into the chat the two questions you're going to think about, and just discuss briefly with your partner. We'll give you about 5 minutes to do that. Which identities do you think the most about and why? Which identities do you think about the least and why? And give me just a sec, and I'll put you into breakout groups. I'm going to open the rooms. We're going to give you about 5 minutes, chat about those. It's really important to think about the why. Why are the identities you think about the most? What identities do you think about the least and why? And then when we come back, we'll just do a little bit of a debriefing where perhaps a few of you can share what we talked about. Okay? Gonna open the rooms and away we go. And I think the three of you who are here in person, you can be your own group. We're going to be closing in 1 minute. All right, I'm going to be closing the breakout rooms. You can finish up your last thoughts. Uh, Okay, for those who are here in person, we're going to come back to the big group. The breakout groups are going to be joining us in just a few seconds. All right, well, welcome back. I know that for an activity like this, it doesn't feel like enough time. This can be a rich activity, but what we'd like to do is we really appreciate you doing it. Want to see if what you reflected about, maybe just we can have a couple people share about identities you thought the most about and why you thought the most about them. People who are online, you're very welcome to put into the chat. You're also very welcome to take yourself off mute and share, as well as the people who are here in person. What'd you think about, what'd you talk about when you talked about identities you thought the most about and why? Yeah. So yeah, if the microphones work, try to speak into those as much as you can.
Hi, this is Sarah.
Yeah, sounds good.
I thought the most about my caretaker parental role, which is as a parent to two teenagers and also a caretaker to an elderly mother. And I thought about that a lot because it is ever present, weighing on my mind. It doesn't leave me. It's a responsibility that is always with me.
And you carry it with you when you're at home, when you're at work. It's something that's always there, always in the background. Thank you.
Yes.
Maybe one more, if one more person would like to share what you all talked about.
Well, in my particular group, we were talking about some of the different ways that we were even approaching the question about how, some of us were thinking of what identities we think about as an educator, what we were thinking about in terms of, people from different countries or who speak a different language. So for some of us, it was sort of a professional question. For some of us, it was a personal question. For some of us, it was just, an individual identity question sort of thing. So
Yeah, it's interesting to hear. I mean, hearing about how we think about ourselves as educators. I know my wife is one, and that carries through into her personal life a lot. Like it's a lot of how she sees herself. And so, yeah, it's interesting to hear about the blending and blurring we can't necessarily distill out in our lives, complicated lives, like professional and personal. They may blend. Thank you for that. So the next question is, what are identities you thought about the least often and why? It's a little bit of a weird question, right? Because why are we thinking about things we don't think about? So does someone want to share quickly about that? What you all talked about. Identities you think about least and why?
I'm willing to share.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, so for number one, I said I've been married for over 30 years, so I think I feel pretty comfortable in my marriage relationship. So I don't think about that as much. I would say housing status, the geographic location, as far as my housing, I feel pretty comfortable where I reside. I needed to be in a place that was close to a hospital because I have a child with disabilities and I wanted to have fast access to a hospital. So living in a home that's close to that is why we made our decision, and I'm happy with that on the personal level. Also, I would say citizenship. I was born American citizen. I have a U.S. passport. So on a day-to-day basis, I don't have to think about citizenship. I feel comfortable with that. On the other side, when it comes to, so this is where the situation gets a little bit blurred. I consistently think about immigrants and the politics of the nation as it relates to immigration and people that don't have the same status that I have and what happens with them and the trials and tribulations that they have to go through is very close to my heart. And so even though I'm at peace with my own citizenship, I do think about others.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's like you may not find yourself thinking about that, but there may be moments where you think about it quite intensely, if I heard you correctly. Yeah. Thank you. Would someone else want to share identities you don't think a lot about and why that might be?
personally, I thought that age and romantic and sexual orientation were two that I don't think a whole lot about myself, just because I was kind of approaching a lot of this from sort of a professional educational standpoint, and I just feel like when it comes to age, it's not something that's important when it comes to education. You can be young, you could be old, and no matter what your age, you can learn, you can put in the effort to, you know, study and better yourself and that sort of thing. And the same thing with romantic and sexual orientation. It doesn't really, it's not something I think too much about myself, just because everyone can learn, everyone can educate and so forth. So it's something that everyone has the capacity to benefit from, no matter what background you come from in that regard.
Okay. Okay. Do you think that if you were an older learner, perhaps, and you were in a classroom of people who were younger, do you think age would be something they would think about?
In a sense, but I have taught classes where everyone was a lot younger than me and classes where everybody was a lot older than me. So, it's something that I have experienced, and in both cases I saw people learning and trying and
Mhm.
doing the best they can. So maybe I thought about it in that sense, but to me, thinking about it means it's something that, differentiates people, drives people apart in some way. But in my opinion, everyone is the same when it comes to being able to learn or being able to better themselves, that sort of thing.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Okay. So let me ask a question for everyone. So I really appreciate you sharing that. So let me ask, why is it, and I want to be mindful of the time too. We're going to end in the next couple of minutes. So I'm going to shift this presentation quite a bit to wrap it up, but I'm going to go back to that question, which is, why is it important to think about things you don't think about when it comes to identity? Why? I mean, and by virtue of us doing this training and having this session, there might be something there. Why do you think that would be important?
Because if you don't think about things that you don't think about, then when it eventually comes along, what will you think of?
Right. Yep. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move forward a couple slides, hopefully. So this is one of the things we're going to do. And we won't have time to do it fully, but take a look at that picture. And it's a footpath. And what I want to leave you with in the next couple minutes, the next minute, is the designer of the footpath missed something. So we're going to shift all the way from identity to something that might seem very remote, footpaths, right? The designer of that footpath really missed something. What do you think they missed, really quickly? What was it? Width? What else? Why? Say more? Say more about that? What do you mean by accessibility? Right. They made it out of individual bricks. Maintaining those bricks takes effort. And you can see those bricks started to create potholes. Some of them got bad. So where was the safer path for people to walk? On the sides of it, not on the path. And so the thing to leave you with in the minute or even less that we have left before we close is, if you were a designer, how do you put yourself into someone's shoes? So what are questions you need to think about? Who are people you need to ask? And so as you think about moving beyond bias, you're always going to want to go to your user, whoever that user may be. It could be students, and how you begin to think about incorporating their views and their perspectives into how it affects how you deliver whatever it is you deliver, whether it's teaching a class, delivering a program, right? And this happens all the time. This is a instruction example, but it happens in program work all the time too. We miss and we overlook. So I am going to be mindful of our time. We're ending here. I want to thank you all. We would have been doing a little more reflection on this, but we're out of time. So I want to thank you all. It's good to see all of you. I think they're going to be sharing the recording if people want to watch it. And if you have any questions or anything like that, I am here. I'm Peter Wilner. I'm with InterFaith Works, and some of you know how to get me, and we can talk to Lillian about how we can get my contact information to you if you're interested. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Nope, it's all right.
You just have to stop recording. Otherwise the system does not. There we go.
Sorry. I appreciate it. Also?
Yes.
Okay. I'll get my.
I don't think it stopped. I think it's still recording. There you go.
Thank you for catching that.